Hi, this is Blaine Johnson, and I want to start off with a big thank you for clicking that link that I sent you in my invitation. I assume that you clicked on it and that you're here because you, like me, are very interested in big deals. And so I'm going to dive right in and talk about three of them that I have led teams to close over the course of my career. Here goes. Here we are at big deal number one. This was a $100 million IT outsourcing partnership deal that I led a team of really wonderful technologists and salespeople and managers to close at one of the Indian Big Five consulting firms. And so if you're not familiar with them, think the range of companies in the upper right-hand corner there. I don't want to attach this story to a particular one for non-disclosure reasons, but you get the idea. Why we won, let's talk about that for a second. We won because this consultancy bought 5 different data centers across the United States, and they had some very unique business outcomes around the notion of turning those data centers around and making them very, very profitable. And I still remember the 3 unique business outcomes. And if we end up working together, this is something that you'll hear from me a whole lot. If you're selling big deals, you got to be very focused on unique business outcomes. And I'm not talking about speeds and feeds or, how many ports we've got for HTTPS or stacks of technology and racks of servers. I'm talking about senior level business objectives like this consultancy had for these data centers. Their first business objective was, we don't have enough products and services in our briefcase to generate the kind of revenue that we want to generate. And so we happily partnered with them and filled their briefcases with all kind of great infrastructure software, all types of monitoring software, all the way from the OS to the network up to the application. Scheduling tools in there for their customers' jobs, security tools for role-based access control so that they could really lock down by individual role where access was, etc. And in so doing, and cross-platform as well, all of that cross-platform as well. And so in so doing, we gave them a great briefcase full of products, and we really satisfied that first unique business outcome. The second unique business outcome that they had was all around driving manual processes out of the management of these data centers, because if they were doing everything manually, they would not be able to scale. And so we focused a lot on that. And then the third one was we've got to have great margins out of these data centers. And so we attacked our competitors and we drove them right out of the data center, and we became more important to the customer, and the customer became more important to us, and the competitor got locked out, and it was just really great for our business and for their business. The second thing we did was we helped the customer build their own deal. You can go online today and you can buy any automobile you want to through a configurator, right? You can buy almost any kind of a technical item that you want through a configurator, but you can't buy enterprise software that way. And so this is something that an approach that I've really woven into my deals throughout my career, and given the customer, you've really gotten the customer involved in exactly what kind of deal they can live with and what they can digest, as the quote down at the bottom says. So that was another reason we won, because we took that approach. And then thirdly, we articulated and quantified the ROI. I mean, this is something that gets breezed over so often today, especially by junior sales reps and people really coming in to learn the business. You got to articulate and quantify for your customer how they're getting their money back. And we did this in 2 ways with this customer. One, we really quantified all those internal processes that we were going to automate. And then 2, we talked about we ROI'd based on those competitors that we replaced, because we saved them a ton of money on those. And then we talked. The big hitter was we talked about how much revenue we were going to be able to push into the market together in the field with really good field execution, and this made all the difference and helped a great team of folks win a big deal number one. All right, here we are at big deal number two. This is a big deal that went down in the financial services space. So think the companies in the upper right-hand corner. Again, I don't want to attach this exact dollar amount to a particular account, but that's the range of companies that this big deal went down in. And think about why we won it. One of the big reasons is because we really understood the customer's existing agreements. When I first started working with the account, one of the first things I did was I went and started really diving into what kind of relationship we have. And I found that we had 14 different agreements with this customer, all of which were in kind of annual renewal mode. I mean, they were a great partner to start with, but we just weren't taking very good care of them. And the consolidation of all those agreements added a ton of leverage for this $11 million deal. Another thing that I really wove into the sales cycle is the notion of team selling and executive bridging. I mean, throughout my career, one of the things that I've learned that's just so important is the more relationships you can build between people that work in your company and your target customers, right, the better. It's a little bit of a hurdle to get over sometimes because some people don't like to give up that control. But I'm telling you, the results and the things that come out of that type of approach are just so great for big deal sales cycles. Then the third thing that we did was we sold into the customer's layer model, which the layer model is a model that's been identified and articulated by the Technology Services Industry Association. And it is really spot on. If you've not heard of it, I want to encourage you to go out and read about it because we're all selling into this model whether we know it or not. LAYER stands for land, adopt, expand, and renew. And there are things from a big deal selling perspective that you've got to do in each one of those steps. And there's things that you don't want to do in each one of those steps, if you want to really write a big deal. So that's big deal number two and how we won it. Big deal number three was not as big as big deal number one and number two, but it was a great deal with a big insurance company. And again, think the kind of the range of companies in the upper right-hand corner, kind of that market space. It was a scheduling deal, and the reason we won is because we formally delivered a professional sales presentation. I mean, we didn't email pricing to the account, right? We were requested to, but we sold through that, and we said, we got to sit down and have a roll up your sleeves meeting. And let's roll up our sleeves and let's look at this deal together and let's twist it and turn it until we get it right. That's where the building your own deal comes in, right? I talked about that a second ago. But we're going to make a professional sales presentation. We're going to come see you and sit in the conference room. And we're going to have all the players around the table. And that's one of the big reasons that we won this deal because we learned so much in that meeting. And really the thing just kind of, this whole sales cycle kind of shifted once we put that meeting together. And then the next thing that we did was we illustrated the long-term vision for our relationship. And this is so important in big deal selling. I was at a networking event the other day, C-level networking event, and met a couple of CIOs from companies here in Denver, Fortune 1000 companies. And I asked them, I'm a sales consultant. I'm just curious, what drives you craziest about your enterprise sales guys? And they both answered almost at the same time and with pretty much the exact same answer. They said they have a very myopic focus on the signature date. Let's get this deal done. Let's get it booked. got to have it by the end of the quarter, got to have it by the end of the month. And they don't talk enough about, well, what's this deal going to mean to me long term? How much better is our relationship going to be a couple of years from now than it is right now? And this is one of the reasons that we won this $1 million deal, and with the first, which resulted in the first multi-year transaction with this customer ever. And so, just a great deal. I love talking about it, and love the quote at the bottom. So after those three big deal stories, here we are back at the cover slide. Give me just a second to tell you a little bit about why I think I'm qualified to talk about big deal selling. I've been in enterprise software sales for the last 25 years. Worked for 4 different software companies, all leaders in their particular spaces, and have been focused on selling to the world's biggest Fortune 500 companies. And I basically have just decided to stop selling face-to-face and instead go to the IT tech community, where I think there's a great need for kind of an up-leveling of the sales force, and stop focusing on speeds and feeds and stacks and racks, as they say, and really broaden our horizons and start to think about much more strategic things like larger transactions that are much more business focused and much less technically focused. Locking out the competition with great big deals, because we all compete against, we're all selling in many cases the same functionality, if not the same technology. And you know, I think there's also an opportunity to add a lot of cross-sell, upsell, and improve customer relationships as a result. That's one thing I've learned in my career, is that big deals result in happier customers. So I'm looking forward to walking you through my practice as quickly as I can, and I hope that you and I can speak together sometime real soon. So just to set the stage, big deal selling is all about our working together to enable your sales force to start to identify and write one big deal across the next 12 months that retires half or more of their quota. And equally important to the revenue is doing so while we keep the customer experience at the center of everything we do. We're intently focused on the customer and making sure that we're helping them move their business in the direction that they want to move it. The tough thing for me about marketing this business is the kind of the one-way nature of marketing. And my whole career, I focused on really understanding the customer. I don't get to while you're watching this video. So the best I can do is take a shot at your unique business objectives. And if you're in the technology space, I think these are probably kind of transcendent when it comes to different types of technology. You are very likely very interested in locking out the competition, again, because everybody's kind of selling the same functionality, or if not the exact same product. If you're an XaaS provider, for instance, today, you might have a product that's unique in the market, so you might not have a lot of direct competition. Believe me, though, at the enterprise space, there's tons of competition for you, because there's so much new technology on the market that these big enterprises have to choose from. You've got to worry about everybody, so you've got to be more innovative. Another thing is less transactional sales and more strategic deals. You know, every time we put an order in, let's make sure it's meaningful and really pushing our customer, helping our customer go the places that they want to go. Increased average contract values, always important, especially in the technology industry. And then cross-sell, upsell. You know, I read a Gartner report, actually, which we'll talk about in a second some more, that where CIOs are saying we have more product today than we've ever had before, but we don't really execute across the price book. So cross-sell, upsell, very important in the market space. And big deals impact all of these. That's really that's the capper on that slide. So on this slide, I'd like to talk a little bit about kind of the as-is state and hopefully the to-be state. And I'll do so, with a graphic here. All the people on the left are salespeople, and all the people on the right are salespeople. The people on the left, they don't have a big deal process. They've never had anybody come in and talk to them about, here's how you sell bigger deals, big needle-moving deals. Big deals you've heard about, you've seen people close, but you haven't yet. And then these guys on the right, they leverage a proven big deal process. They know how to go and write very large transactions. So let's talk about a couple little different characteristics of these two groups. These guys on the left, they love their customers, and their customers love them because they're a single point of contact. They're the one throat to choke. And they really take great care of their customers, and they pride themselves in it. On the deal, which is great. On the big deal side, these guys are all about team selling. These are about I'm not going to be your one throat to choke because I can't do the best job that way. I want to introduce you to these guys from support. I'm going to introduce you to these guys over here from marketing, and I'm going to introduce you to these guys from product management. And together, we're going to take really great care of you. These guys on the left, they have transactional confidence, man. That phone rings, or they go out on that sales call, and they know their product so well and their functionality so well. They just go right in there, and they got very great transactional confidence. We're gonna do a little deal here. We're gonna get it right, and we're gonna make it happen fast. These guys on the right, they're more about executive presence. They sit back, they ask questions, they listen very, very closely. They're always thinking about where else they could take this deal. Guys on the left, they sell lots of core product, man. They keep the lights on, lots of singles and doubles. We're really counting on them. They're working hard, and they are keeping things going. These guys over here say, we need to be a more strategic provider so that we don't get kicked out one day. And one of the best ways to do that is to sell a lot of everything that we have. And they really do think about their whole briefcase and all the products in that briefcase. These guys on the left, they have a few very dependable account contacts and buyers. They've got a couple people in their organization a lot of times that they can call on and pull that refresh forward by 2 weeks so that we can get it in the quarter, and they can make it happen because they've got great contacts. Guys on the right, these guys have many internal and external constituents. They got people that they're working with inside their own company and inside the customer's company that where the relationships are really getting stronger, and we're coming together as two organizations like never before. Guys on the left, they have a real point-in-time transactional focus. Got to get this deal done inside the quarter. Got to get it done. Guys on the right, they have a long-term vision. Let's sit back and let's see where can we take this relationship and how much better could we do for our customers if we start talking about what's happening 2 or 3 years down the road as opposed to what's happening here at the end of the quarter. Guys on the left, they know the features, the functions, the benefit, the competitors. They know all the SKUs. They get it. They know the speeds. They know the best memory. How much memory you need. They know the bandwidths. Guys on the right, these guys know more about the customer's key performance indicators. They know about the customer's unique business objectives, and what the C-level suite is really looking to do with the business. Guys on the right, they email quotes, man. They get it going. They turn to transactions. Guys on the left, they stand and deliver a professional sales presentation. They go, we don't email quotes. We get in a room and we start talking about what we're going to do with the business. Guys on the left, good soldiers. I mean, great employees, keeping the lights on, turning transactions, making it happen. Guys on the right are deal makers. These are the guys that step up and learn a process and start to change their sales motions in pursuit of much bigger deals. I just had to put this slide in from Gartner because the first time I saw it, it was so validating. I just loved seeing it, because what it really says is, Blaine, all the stuff that you've been doing throughout your career is what we see in the marketplace driving growth. So they asked account growth. So they asked 745 CXO buyers of technology, what really makes you want to do business with a vendor? And the things on the right just really stood out, right? When that vendor really understands my business and my business objectives, forget about the technical objectives. That's just table stakes. You have to do that. But when they really understand my business, I give them more share. When they lay out a vision for where we're going, they show me over the next few years how can we grow closer together and continue to support my business. That makes a big difference. When they show me ROI, they show me how their tools are going to pay for themselves. That makes a big difference. And when they introduce me, here's this center column here at 11%. When they introduce me to more than just a couple of people, but really to a whole team of people behind them that's going to take care of me, that makes a big difference. They come at me with aggressive selling tactics. They say they're going to give me an extra 10% if I give them the deal by the end of the quarter. It doesn't grow. It doesn't make me feel great, and it doesn't make me want to give them more share. Sometimes I have to, but I don't want to. And then when they tell me, hey, I'm going to be your one throat to choke, we've talked about this before, or the go-to person, or when they help me get my issues closed quickly, that makes me want to stay with them. So that drives retention, but it doesn't drive growth. And so a lot of the concepts on this slide are woven through the way I approach my customers, and also, through the curriculum that I would deliver, and the sales motion encouragement that I would give if we end up working together. So I just wanted to weave this slide back in again because, as you're probably getting by now, business objectives are really key to me. These are the ones that I've seen in the marketplace that kind of tend to stand out the most. But I would like very much to have a one-on-one conversation with you to talk about your unique business objectives and how we might be able to work together to solve them with big deal selling. If these are them, this 2-day selling curriculum that I've put together could really be spot on for your sales organization, and I hope we get to talk. You may be asking yourself at this point, Blaine, if we did work together, what would that look like? What do your services look like? And so I've got a couple of slides on that. First one is really an analysis or an assessment slide. And in this offering, I would come into your office and I would spend time with the sales guys and spend time on the floor, dive into their deals a little bit with them, see where the revenue's coming from and where does the pipeline sit today. Are they a team of salespeople that can stand and present? Do they know how to build an ROI, etc. And then I would generate a report for you that would be very valuable and really I'd help you identify some of the gaps in that sales force from a big deal perspective. My second offering is a training event called the Big Deal Selling System. And it is a 2-day, 6-hour training session delivered off-site in an executive dining room. I think that's the greatest place to do these things because one of the things we talk a lot about is how to put together an executive dinner or an executive bridging meeting, and the environment is just perfect for that. Make sure all the guys are comfortable in that type of environment. And this training is tailored to some extent anyway, to fill the gaps that we found in the analysis. And really centers around a very pragmatic, 5-step, proven big deal process and presentation. The presentation is a key part of this. In fact, in the training, I will deliver a presentation to the team that I used in 2015 to close a $6 million cloud and automation deal. And it's a presentation format that you can use and standardize on in your organization. And it's because it's so customer centric, it really is, it's perfect for any technology sales provider. We'll also focus a lot in the training and in the 5-step process on the customer's unique business objectives and how to research those on, through executive bridging meetings and through analyst calls and through listening for reading, for instance, annual reports, and how to conduct good information gathering meetings with your many constituents inside the organization. And then also how to weave that configurator into the presentation and really to use it in the presentation and also in negotiations. The cool thing about this 5-step proven process is that you can take it apart and you can twist it and turn it and really make it yours. I would have to tell you that I didn't, in all the big deals that I've written, I haven't used all 5 steps, but I've used all 5 steps in some of them. But in all of them, I've used some of these components, and they just make a huge difference in the average order sizes that we're able to bring in. And then, of course, throughout the training, I'll weave actual big deal examples throughout the whole 6-hour training. So really designed to get your guys thinking differently, more strategically, and up-leveling your sales force. My third big deal selling offering I refer to as Project Big Deal. What happens in these training classes is all types of big deal ideas start floating to the surface, and the salespeople in the room start to get excited about them, and they start to see possibilities. And so I offer a 12-week-long follow-on mentoring program where I stay in touch with the individual salespeople on their individual deals and provide analysis, strategy, and recommendation. And then I also offer deep dive big deal training for 1.5 hours through the week, where we really go in a little bit deeper on some of the stuff that we weren't able to cover in the 6-hour class. Like, for instance, how to put together an executive briefing document, make your executive feel comfortable going into the meeting, how to organize and lead, for instance, a product management meeting, how to use the configurator in negotiations, for instance. And then I'll also offer weekly office hours where I'll be available to your team to talk about big deal discussions and strategies. And then throughout the term of our agreement, you'll have consistent email and telephone contact with me during normal business hours across that term. My fourth offering is a fractional SVP of sales role, where I would be dedicated to your organization and your unique business outcomes a couple of days a week in a real situation-specific type of way, right? I would like to work with you to understand what those unique business outcomes are, and unique business objectives are, and put together a plan to attack those. That might be very big deal centric. It might focus on things like comp plans or hiring. It might focus on the channel or product functionality or markets that make sense to go after. In this role, I would make accompanied customer visits if it made sense, and then I'd ask for a 6-month commitment on an arrangement like this. So thanks again for taking the time with me today. And I hope we can schedule a conversation together and really dive into your unique business objectives. Where are you trying to take the company? What kind of changes are you trying to roll out across your sales organization? What kinds of things can we do together to increase average order sizes, to reduce customer acquisition costs, and improve the lifetime value of each one of your customers to your business? Really love to have that telephone call. Reach me at calendly.com/big deal selling. That link is connected to my calendar, so it makes it super easy to schedule time. And then get ready to book and support some more needle moving deals at your business. I sure hope we get to talk to one another. Thanks a lot for your time.